Hey, Safali, welcome. Glad you're going to get to catch me live this morning. The stream that I did on Thursday night with this deck was so much fun. I couldn't resist doing it again. Oh yeah, Saturday morning fill stream. I'm going to try to make these more regular now. So now that school's back in session, I'm going to shoot for Monday and Thursday evening streams here, as well as I'll be usually either playing or commentating for the Legacy Premier League on Wednesdays. And I'm going to shoot for making Saturday morning streams a regular thing. Now, it just can't always happen because, real life occurs and sometimes I have responsibilities and such. But I'm going to try to make it happen more often than not. So these will become more regular. They won't always be as long as my other streams, but I'm trying to commit to streaming a little bit more than I am now. Oh yeah, I'll put up the deck list momentarily once my countdown timer ends here, and I am indeed playing Orcish Lumberjack. All right, good morning, everyone, or good whatever part of the day is appropriate for you in whatever part of the world you're in. My name's Phil Gallier, and I run ThrabenU University, a legacy site exclusively for death and taxes, and I'm also one of the competitors in the Legacy Premier League, which you can catch every Wednesday night on It's Julian's Twitch channel. So on Thursday, I did a follower goal stream with this deck, which is kind of like a loam deck. Kind of. So I've been calling the deck just like Lumberjacks, although some people have taken to calling it Applejacks as well, or some people just refer to it as like a loam variation. So this is my webcam down. Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, my light on my webcam is not on here. All right, chat, did that fix it? Because I can see it again now. I know there's a delay between like what I say and everything else. All right, I've got Athalia. That's a good sign. Okay, sorry about that. Thank you for letting me know, chat. So, kind of looking at the different value packages in this deck, and there's a lot. We have Grove of the Burn Willows Punishing Fire as repeated removal for small creature decks. We have Life from the Loam with our various fetch lands and Mox Diamonds for value. We have Knight of the Reliquary to kind of like tutor up various lands. Most notably, we have the Dark Depths and Thespian Stage combo in this deck. We have crop rotations to help us find the various lands that we want as well. And then we get to the spicy stuff. Orcish Lumberjack. It's basically Black Lotus that you can keep using again and again and again. Now, there is a downside. So Orcish Lumberjack is one red for a creature that lets you tap and sacrifice a forest to add 3 mana to your mana pool. But it has to be red or green mana. So you can use Orcish Lumberjack to accelerate out into some huge stuff down at the fat end over here. So we can natural order away our birds and Sylvan Safekeepers, or even Teague or Knight if we needed to, for some of these threats over here. Or we can green sun for them as well. Titania is the biggest one and kind of the key card of this deck. When it enters the battlefield, you return target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield. And whenever a land you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you create a 5/3 green elemental creature token. Bahara, thank you very much for auto-hosting. So for most of the time when we're like green sunning, this is what we're going for because this is the card that makes the deck really shine. And I might say that, you probably won't believe me until we produce like 30 power worth of elementals in a turn. When we go and like Orcish Lumberjack, sacrifice a land, you know, Titania triggers, getting an elemental, play a land, it's a wasteland, go wasteland myself, produce 2 more 5/3s, loam, get all that stuff back, activate a knight, make another 5/3, or 2 5/3s if I'm going and fetching. So this is kind of the key card of the deck. Primetime lets you go and like either just get a bunch of land or specifically go and get the Dark Depths stage combo in one go. And Dragon Lord Atarka just like nukes all of the fair decks. This is a deck designed by MTGO Grinders Solnox, and it's been super fun, and the deck is way, way better than it looks. It has some incredibly good matchups that is very difficult to win. Unfortunately, I did not 5-0 with this deck list on Thursday. I lost in Game 3 to Death Shadow after some very unfortunate things occurred. But I nearly 5-0'd with this, and we're going to see if we can run it back this morning. Ramunap Excavator seems like it would be a great card in this shell. That is 100% a card that I would consider playing. Essentially, I've made no changes to the deck list that Solnox provided me with the exception of changing 1 Red Blast in the sideboard to a Rurikthar, because I wanted a random natural order target for the combo matchups, because I don't really have that. Like, the best I can do is just get Titania or Primetime and threaten a huge amount of power. One other neat thing, Sylvan Safekeeper here lets you sacrifice a land to give a creature you control Shroud, and if you have a Titania in play, you can just like get rid of all of your lands to create an elemental token army super quickly. Oh man, there's a Jax vintage deck. That's actually really exciting. Ah, survival. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Jeez. Lumberjack into survival sounds disgusting. Like, ooh. That gets a lot done quickly. Like, assuming no Moxen, that's still just like 4 mana on turn 2. And so you get to survival activate twice. Neat. So Jack, in the context of Magic, or Jax, refers specifically to Orcish Lumberjack. Jax, more generally, is a game involving like a ball that you bounce and you pick up these little kind of like 3D cross type things. Okay, so how quickly can I produce Marilage? So I go turn 1 Mox Diamond, discard a land, play Sylvan Safekeeper. I could even crop rotation for stage right there as well. So on turn 1, I could have this in play. On turn 2, I could play 1 more land. And I go land and this to activate stage. So I can produce a turn 3 Merit Lodge. I guess I'll keep this. Yeah, I couldn't resist. Like, I wasn't really planning on doing this, but I woke up this morning in a little bit of a silly mood, and I figured this would be a pretty fun morning. Ooh, that just does it, right? So play Mox Diamond, discard Windswept Heath, play Stage, rotate this for depths, and produce one 2020 bad boy. Mox Diamond is a good card, chat. Alright, so I keep the copied one because it has no counters on it. And then I produce one 2020 bad boy. Of note, kind of funnily, I can't actually like use Sylvan Safekeeper's ability to go and protect the Merit Lodge because I'm out of lands. Alright, Warping Whale me. You got my Sylvan Safekeeper. Good job, buddy. So I don't remember if I said this or not, but the reason why I did this on my main phase is because they're a Thespian stage deck as well, and I really don't want them to like go and produce their own tentacle monster before I produce mine. That would be bad. Okay, so what do I want against what is presumably the big Eldrazi deck? I kind of want these three cards. Like, something to mess with their artifacts, something to mess with their planeswalkers. Hey, Lord Darkview, what do you mean ML? I'm just not connecting what that is right now. And in regards to your other comment, yeah, like, the things that I did on Thursday night with this deck were just disgusting. Oh, Merit Lodge. Okay, thank you, I got it. I thought that was like referring to some set or something. Bah. So one thing I will say about this deck is that I'm never exactly sure like what I can put in versus like what like how I need to sideboard. Like in this matchup, I can foresee myself most of the time just being like a Maverick deck and doing perfectly fine against my opponent. Like I foresee most or all of these Punishing Fires coming out. They don't seem particularly powerful. And I could see just like trimming this Dragon Lord Atarka without any difficulty at all, or without really hurting myself. I am starting to ask myself the question now, like whether or not I want these Swords to Plowshares in case my opponent has like random Thought-Knot Seers. But I kind of feel like I'm just going to get bigger than them pretty quickly. Actually, I certainly don't need the Bojuka Bog. That can go for a Swords. Yeah, Rurik Thar's probably medium, but like the must attack each turn if able thing probably is a downside here. No, Daniel Combs, I do not believe in... Oh, I'm a 61 card deck, so Second Swords is in. Perfect deck building. Daniel, I don't believe in posting sideboard guides for two reasons. One, they're a crutch to your development as a player. Two, they can be sort of like invalidated as quickly as like 1 day after you post them in many cases. All right, my opponent has opened on Leyline of the Void, which is strong. All right, my opponent has seen my hand with Sorcerous Spyglass now, so they can figure out what's going on. I'm going to give them a good old smiley face in the chat. Daniel, I am considering posting one that I wrote up for a certain deck list that I was testing. I might post it after GP Richmond. But more generally, Daniel, like each one of my matchups, I talk about sideboarding for that matchup. So the sort of information you're looking for is there, just not necessarily the exact thing. Oh, interesting. My opponent has just named Wasteland here. All right. So, what do? I don't need to Teague yet, and I don't want to Teague right now because I have Green Sun. So I can go like Lumberjack and Mox Diamond this turn. If I get to untap with Lumberjack, I can produce 6 mana, so I can Green Sun for 5 for Titania. But that's not particularly good in the face of the Ancient Tomb there. So I think this game I'm more likely to just, like, go on the Knight of the Reliquary, get big, hurt you bad plan, rather than anything else. And when I can get to 6 mana, I'll Green Sun for Primeval Titan and get Stage Depths as a kill. I guess, like, the Knights aren't going to get too big. Alright, so I'm going to discard Caracas. And then it probably doesn't matter too much which land I play. I'm going to play Windswept Heath in case my opponent has another Sorcerous Spyglass, so they can't just, like, Windswept, like, Sorcerous Spyglass me off my Windswept Heath. I believe Primeval Titan is the thing that wins me this game. Okay, yeah, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. And I probably need to fetch here, just in case my opponent also has, like, Spirit Guide Warping Whale. I think I'm going to go ahead and get my Scattered Groves tapped here. Since I'm not going to, like, recur the Leyline this, like, recur my lands this game, I think I just want to, like, not draw a tap land later. Well, it would have been a turn 3 Titan. I could only make 6 mana on turn 2, and I need 7 to Green Sun for it. Yeah, Gabo Hunter, my hair is looking real good this morning, right? Alright. I question some of my opponent's decisions here. It seems like that's a pretty clear Orcish Lumberjack name. But, you know, whatever. Okay, so I can just play Knight this turn as a 2/2. But Knight's also a mana accelerator, right? Because I can float a mana sack with Night, get another land. So next turn, I can Green Sun for Primeval Titan either way. So I'm just going to think for a second. Like, if I just play the bird as a mana accelerator... No, he shut off Night, so I need to play the bird. Sorry. Oh, all right. Yeah, you're right. This is the one that lets you activate mana abilities. My bad. It's not Revoker. All right. Okay. So I'll go 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7. Green Sun. Really hope not to get Warping Wailed. We did not get Warping Wailed. Alright, so now I get Dark Depths, Thespian Stage. Actually, this was an error. Now my opponent can get one as well. But it's fine because I can Sajiri Step and give mine protection. Or no, sorry, this is not a Thespian Stage, this is a Vesuva copying it. That's a lot of land. Good thing those wastelands are shut off, opponent. Thanks for that. Okay, so now I can Swords to Plowshares this, play Grove. These lands come in tapped, right? Actually, I might not even Tentacle Monster this turn. I kind of want to just be able to Gaddock Teague. Can I Swords to Plowshares, Gaddock Teague, and Tentacle Monster? So I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. So this is 3. Wow, I can do all of that. Oh shoot, there's this Caracas as well. Okay, so maybe Tentacle Monster is not that big of a deal. Okay. So I'm playing Grove. I'm going to Swords to Plowshares this. So now I can just attack for 7. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So my opponent is currently showing 11 mana, so they could Ulamog. So no, the Wasteland's shut off with the Spyglass. So I think I just go 1, 2, 3, play a knight post-combat, and leave up Orcish Lumberjack, sacrifice to create this at instant speed. So I think I'll get another Thespian Stage, and then just some random forest that I can sack. Actually, maybe I should just play Teague to play around like All Is Dust. No, that just gets bounced by Caracas. Never mind. So we'll just play the knight. Them hitting my 1 of Caracas was, like, very good. Very, very good. Well, I think this is, like, an unlikely scenario, right? Like, them Oblivion Sowering my Caracas exactly like the turn where I'm going to go and produce a Merit Lodge. I don't think I need to play around this. Because, like, the only way this also gets, like, to the point where it's going to kill me is if they also have, like, a Spyglass on Wasteland, right? Because otherwise I just, like, get Wastelands with Knight or Primeval Titan or Crop Rotation, and then I just take care of this problem. Alright, so Vesuva gets them a stage. Yeah, Thought Nasir is fine. Alright, this Windswept Heath doesn't really do anything, unfortunately. Alright, so what do I want out of the deck? I probably don't want to draw a Dryad Arbor. And at this point, I probably just want to thin my deck a little bit more. So 3 fetchables left. after I do this. All right. I think I can just pass the turn. Like, my opponent can try to Thespian stage my Dark Depths to get a Merit Lodge, and I can just, like, stage it in response, or, like, rotate it away in response. So that's not actually that scary. No, I can't rotate it away. Sorry. There's... The knight is Spyglass. Oh, that's right. Knight just lets you sack a forest or a plains. Thank you. No, I have my own legendary creatures. They have Olamog in their deck. I think there is some argument for copying a Caracas here. The Wasteland is currently Sorceress Spyglass. We're just thinning our deck here. Alright, so that's super annoying. Actually, like, it's kind of inconvenient that I just fetched, but it'll be fine. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for this, I can still leave up a stage activation and start just, like, doing herpaderp derp, like, Orcish Lumberjack things. Alright. Oh, boo. I'm sad with Titania. You're right. I need to read my cards. Alright, so you would like to create a Merit Lodge token. Caracas is not revoked your Spyglass currently. I can just let this happen and bounce yours. So I don't understand. Like, is your only out here, like, me not realizing that Caracas kills this? Because that's neat. I'm just, like, making sure I'm not missing something obvious. I don't think I am, right? Like, I just bounce this and then huzzah. Alright, I respect the opponent for Ancient Tomb killing themselves. Well done, opponent. And my opponent was doing a really good job of making me not have, like, ridiculous, stupid fun times that game. Leyline of the Void is, like, baller against this deck. Alright, so I'm going to take a minute to, like, reread some of these. Alright, so it has to be put into a graveyard. It does not leave the battlefield. Okay. So, with one land, this hand would be insane. But I don't think I'm willing to accept the level of greed required to keep this hand. But it's real close. Like, I would have both Loam and Punishing Fire. Jeez. Like, the upside of keeping this hand is so incredibly high. But if I miss, I am just, like, literally dead. I can't cast anything. How many lands do I play? Alright, so there's 26 lands remaining. Yeah, I'm on the draw. So there's 26 lands remaining, some of which enter tap, but still could be pitched to Mox Diamond effectively. I guess I'm also pretty soft to Wasteland. Well, this hand's terrible, but I guess we have a turn 3. Nope. Alright, hand got a lot better. Oh, the plan for this game does not involve Orcish Lumberjack. The plan for this game involves Natural Order for Primeval Titan or Dragon Lord Atarka. So, like, I'll get to play a turn 2 Knight, and if my opponent has, like, a Daze or anything of that nature, like, that probably goes out of my hand there. Yeah, I know. I haven't seen an Abrupt Decay in quite some time. So I can choose to Wasteland my opponent here. But I kind of like just like going YOLO for Natural Order next turn, and I can only do that if I play Scattered Groves tapped here. I mean, all we know is bug deck of some nature. I don't know exactly what it is. Like, there's just like too many possibilities with the cards that I'm currently seeing. Leovold, that's fine. That doesn't interact with my plan in any capacity. Ooh. So I can go for the Natural Order this turn. If it doesn't work, then I just like ride the Life from the Loam Caracas Wasteland plan to the chagrin of my opponent. You know, maybe there's even just like a chance that I'm not supposed to Natural Order this turn, and I'm supposed to just like Life from the Loam, get Caracas, play Caracas, bounce Leovold, Wasteland you, and try to constrain the resources in that way. YOLO. Alright. Opponent had a force. That's fine. Now we go on plan B. Operation Destroy Everything You Know and Love. Me putting the loam into the graveyard. Actively helping my plan. I didn't show up to this channel to watch you not Natural Order, Phil. Damn it. Agreed. No, I'm not going to use Wasteland first. I want my opponent to draw one card off of Leovold, not two. Five, 6 Tarmogoyf is a big boy. But I have, like, Dryad Arbor to block that every turn for the rest of the game. So that's fine. I am not scared of this Tarmogoyf. Like, Dryad Arbor block recur is 100% reasonably an answer to Tarmogoyf until I find anything else. So I think I'm just going to take a natural draw step this turn. A knight. A knight of the reliquary, you say. Well, if my opponent doesn't have Force of Will, that's pretty sweet. How big is this? Oh, it's just going to be a 3/3 right now. That's fine. Like, I can dredge with Loam the following turn, probably make it huge. Like, between, like, I have so many options that include, like, wastelanding myself, like, using the Scattered Grove. So I'll go ahead and dredge this. Try to make knight a big. Alright, knight went up to a 4/4. Now I can make knight a 5/5. So knight now outclasses the Tarmogoyf very handily. I think I'll just play a Dryad Arbor and pass the turn. Alright, opponent, you enjoy that ponder. You enjoy your Lotus Petal land. Okay. So I can sacrifice this, get Thespian Stage, sacrifice this, get Dark Depths, play a land, produce Merit Lodge, and wasteland them. This deck is sweet when it does its thing. Alright, so ultimately, we're still a little bit unsure of the speed of my opponent's deck. Like, they have Wasteland, they have Decay, they have him, they have Tarmogoyf. Like, they could be something like a Shardless Bug deck, they could be a Bug Delver deck, they could be a Bug mid-range deck that also includes Wasteland. So, I have some things to consider in sideboarding. These chokes are probably awesome. The Ooze is probably good. The Swords to Plowshares are maybe good. I'm probably going to trim on Punishing Fire. They're good if my opponent has Baleful Strix, but they're kind of like bad against Tarmogoyf. So maybe Swords is just going to be better, despite not being recursive. I've been trimming the natural orders versus decks with counterspells, and the same might be true of crop rotation as well. Teague seems bad. Whether or not library is good really depends on what kind of bug deck my opponent is. But I'm kind of inclined to take that out. What if I operate under the assumption that they're Bug Delver? What would that mean? I think that'd mean keeping one more Punishing Fire in. But if they're a bug control deck, this is worse. And this is, like, way better. This is game 2 of this match, so I just lost the die roll. That's why I was on the draw. All right, I'm just gonna kind of hedge and keep this library in case my opponent's just like a bug mid-range deck. Alright, my opponent's mulliganed. I have a hand with lands and spells. I'm going to keep this one, and we'll see what happens with it. I'm probably just going to snap Wasteland my opponent's first land if they just, like, ponder or something. Yeah, 61 card special, perfect deck building. Alright, good luck. My hand is pretty Inquisition-proof. It's 2 things that I want to go to the graveyard, and then a crop rotation that I don't particularly care about at this time. So I guess you take the crop rotation. Yep. So on the off chance that my opponent is a Stifle deck, I'm just going to fetch a Forest now. My lands for my next 2 turns, if my opponent just has basics, are just going to be my Forest and my Plains, so I can't get nugged by an opposing Wasteland. Alright, so now that my opponent has taken an action, I'm fine on playing Taiga. And I'll play Taiga here rather than Grove so that I can just, like, Grove my Punishing Fire back without it, like, having an opportunity to be wastelanded. I assume my opponent's deck is going to have a couple copies of Surgical Extraction in it, so, like, my Punishing Fire and my Loams aren't going to be free rolls, but unless they have Snapcaster, they're not going to nug both. Man, opponent, you're going to be, like, so sad that I have this Singleton Caracas. I don't really need to dredge the Loam this turn. Because, like, my land per turn is going to be Caracas. And so I can't, like, play another waste. So I think I'm just going to take a natural draw step and see if I can get something else to do with my mana. Mox Diamond is stellar. I'm going to take a hit from a Leovold here. So, unless my opponent just taps their mana, in which case I will bounce the Leovold immediately. Ooh, Tireless Tracker. Opponent, that seems like a terrible play. I have Punishing Fire in the yard, and you saw my Grove. Do I want to loam? So what's my turn? My turn is play Grove, Grove, return Fire, Fire Tireless Tracker, and then I can cast Life from the Loam afterwards. Nah, I'll take a draw step again. This will make sense if my opponent is going to, like, force to protect this Tireless Tracker. Nope. Okay, well, you tried, opponent. Play Leovold again. Sure, opponent. Okay, what's my turn? My turn is 3 mana to play a Knight of the Reliquary, and then I'll have 3 mana remaining. So I can go 3 mana Knight, 2 mana Loam, play Wasteland, Wasteland them. I'm just thinking, like, if I actually want to bother bouncing this Leovold and giving my opponent a card, or if I just want to, like, leave it on board. I think I'll bounce it. I think I'm close to 100% wastelanding them on my turn. So target, waste, waste, Grove. Man, Loam feels really good against these kind of like bug mid-range decks. This is gross. Like, my opponent even has 2 basics, and it still just feels like I'm doing one of the best things I could be doing. Like, what can my opponent play to make me feel sad right now? I'm trying to figure that out. Like, if they just, like, play a Lily or something, that's not that big of a deal. Alright, so they have push into Tarmogoyf. The Tarmogoyf's pretty big. So I don't need to take a draw step here. Alright. So now I can play... I can choke them. This island doesn't untap. I can wasteland their... I wasteland their Bayou so they can't Abrupt Decay the choke. And then I just, like, Dryad Arbor block Tarmogoyf for a few turns until I, like, find something else to do with my life. Alright, so we'll go 1, 2, I want to leave this and this up. 3, choke. I like casting this Life from the Loam card. It's a hell of a drug. Do I want to Loam this turn? I can, like, Wasteland their Wasteland. I guess that... Nah, that doesn't matter. Like, I'm playing Windswept Heath for Dryad Arbor this turn. How big is this Green Sun? For 1, 2, 3, 4... I can Green Sun for 5 right now, so I can just get Titania. Green Sun for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get Titania, take 5 more damage, but then really go ham. No, I won't take 5 more damage because I get Windswept Heath back immediately. I think my opponent is realizing what's happening now. Alright, so I can hit my opponent for 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, return fire, and then kill them. Neat. You would like to fatal push a token. Okay. I accept this. So what I do with this turn depends on how greedy I want to be. If I want to be super greedy, I just like bounce my Titania. But if my opponent drew a force, that's like so bad for me. I want to get these scattered groves. Can I sacrifice it? I can't sacrifice this somehow yet. I can wasteland it myself if I want. I'll just leave that in the deck. Alright, so I guess I'll get, like, Bog, Arbor, Wasteland. Pay for this. Oh yeah, Eric, I'm certainly in the situation there where like I have such a wealth of resources with like my Loam engine, my Punishing Fire engine, and Titania, where even if my opponent has like a force or another fatal push or something like that, like the advantage bar there is just so far in my favor that what can my opponent do to win? So this deck is like actually surprisingly good. I went 4-1 last time. I'm currently what 2-0 this time. So I'm currently 6-1 with this deck. That's way better than like what I would have expected. Like this deck has a surprising amount of game to it. Yeah, Titania is nuts. I'm loving it. Is Windrider still on Elves? Anyone know? I've played them on, I think, Elves and Show and Tell. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm keeping this hand. This hand's insane. DNT, Eldrazi, or Grixis recently. Okay. Hippie Long Ears, I'm playing 3 Crusaders in my D&T deck lists right now. There's just, like, so much shadow everywhere that, like, Crusader is one of the best threats that you can have right now, since it also walls their deck. Yeah, Windrider is very well-rounded, and I think one of the, not like one of the very top leaders right now, I think Windrider's in, like, somewhere between, like, 3rd and 5th place or something like that. They've got a lot of trophies. Oh, Windrider's up to 2nd? Alright, so my opponent needs to do something real quick, and they said they're going to be away from their keyboard for about 5 minutes. So I'm going to take this same opportunity to run to the restroom. If you have any questions for me, please throw them in the chat, and I will answer them momentarily. All right, I'm back. We're still waiting on my opponent. So, folks, while we're waiting, if you have any questions about D&T, Legacy in general, or this deck, I'm happy to field them. Oh, I didn't know there was a podcast about this deck, actually. So I did this as a sort of like follower goal stream on Thursday, and I had so much fun playing it, and I almost got a 5-0 that I really wanted to try playing it again this morning. I was like intending on playing Legacy Humans, but I decided like I'll just do that on Monday night so that I can play this again. It was just like so fun. Are you off Brightling right now? No, I'm playing 1. It's a card that I really want to have access to for some matchups, especially like Eldrazi, Miracles, Red Prison, but with how much Death Shadow there is running around right now, Crusader in the current metagame is, as a whole, superior to Brightling. But I don't want to drop Brightling for like a GP event because I'm sure plenty of people will be playing decks like Red Prison and Miracles there, so I don't want to lose access to its effect. As a lands player, what's the best way to win against D&T? So if you can establish early supremacy with Punishing Fire before I get myself established, those are the games that are most difficult for me to win. So when you can put the squeeze on me early and keep me from being the control deck, it's much harder for me to win. Man, where did you find the slots for 3 Mirrans and Brightling? So rip in peace. The Lumberjack is what allows you to play Titania on turn 2. And that's pretty nuts. It also lets you like Natural Order or Titan pretty quickly, but it's certainly not like a 100% required card. It's just like a really good sack outlet for your lands once you do have the Titania, though. It also lets you go very quickly in terms of the Merit Lodge combo. So I don't know that this is like my most recent deck list, but this is one of the deck lists that I've been testing. Okay, so yeah, so this isn't the one with 3 Crusaders. This is the one with 2 Crusaders, a Prelate, a Brightling, and a Jailer. I don't know how I feel about the Jailer. I've been testing it again because a lot of people I've been talking to are pretty hot on it. But like I'm not really sure if like I need Jailer and Prelate. I kind of wonder if just like jamming a whole bunch of Mirror Crusaders is better. Covenant Elite. I could see Tireless Tracker and Ramunap Excavator as being cards that fit into this shell. Those are things that I would love to have access to that I don't currently have access to. No, hippity long ears, I didn't hear that. Can you give me the TLDR? What's better, lands or turbo decks? Depths. Generally speaking, I believe lands is a better deck. Just like in a vacuum, I think lands does more powerful things than what turbo depths does. Turbo depths kind of like has one game plan and it executes it pretty well, but I've never been overly impressed. All right, so I'm going to cast Life from the Loam on turn 1. Or am I just going to Wasteland on turn 1? Like, either one plays around Thought-Knots here. So I can go Mox Diamond, discard Scattered Grove to just put it in my graveyard, and then play Grove, crop rotation a Grove into a Wasteland my opponent, and then Loam next turn. And now I have 3 lands in the graveyard for like maximum Loam value on my following turn. Never mind. I wouldn't be surprised to get the concession exactly right here. So if possible, anytime my opponent could possibly get to 4 mana, I'd like my Life from the Loam to be in the graveyard so that my opponent can't go and like snipe it away with the Thought-Knots here. Thorn of Amethyst, literally do not care about that card. I don't need to Loam this turn. That can stay. So I can Green Sun for 0 to get a Dryad Arbor, and if I do so, I can just make a Tentacle monster next turn. Yeah, Walked Airplane, like, Wasteland Loam is just disgusting. So, we saw main deck Thorn of Amethyst from this Eldrazi deck, so that might mean it's a bigger Eldrazi deck rather than sort of a smaller one. So I probably want something approximating these 5 cards. Yeah, if you want to see like some great footage with elves, just check out what Julian is doing. Julian Knob, he's one of the people in charge of organizing the Legacy Premier League. And he's starting to stream more regularly now, and he's pushing out some stellar content. All right, what don't I want? I don't want Bojuka Bog. That can go. If this is the bigger Eldrazi deck, like I suspect, then the Punishing Fires aren't really good. And they're not really good if my opponent's going to be playing, like, Thorn-type cards anyway. And then I'd only need to cut one more card. I guess Sylvan Safekeeper. Like, my opponent could have Warping Whale or Spatial Contortion. But this card probably isn't all that impressive against this deck. So I'm tempted to do something looking like this. If my opponent's big Eldrazi, then Teague stops all his Dust and Ugin, so I actually disagree. You think he's smaller Eldrazi, but smaller Eldrazi running Thorn? Like, it's not unreasonable. That's maybe correct. So I'm going to have Grudge and Rexage as answers to it. And Chalice on 1 isn't even all that good against me. Although my opponent may be doing it. Maybe if I'm not 100% sure that they're big, I cut this needle and I keep like one Punishing Fire in to hedge. Since I can mow down Eldrazi Mimics. So when playing on Modo, I never take budget into account. The decks are so much cheaper than they are on paper, and most people are putting in more work towards like making their deck lists of higher caliber than like your average local game store. So I don't consider budgetary constraints at all when doing my deck build, my like sideboarding. This hand is awkward, but I'm going to keep it. If they're small Eldrazi, then I have like both Punishing Fire and Wasteland to start things off. Ah, the dreaded second eye. What do I want to play this turn? I could play Dryad Arbor and just like threaten to trade it for Mimic. I don't hate that. I don't really want to like play Grove here to expose that like this. I think I like that. It could potentially get like Warping Whale, Spatial Contortion, or Dismember. But I'm not like overly concerned about that happening. Like just getting the Dryad Arbor into play early when I don't need like the mana for a turn makes this Natural Order or this Knight, or sorry, the Natural Order specifically much more threatening. Okay, so I can Green Sun for 1 to get a bird. And then I can Natural Order on the following turn, getting Dragon Lord Atarka to kill both of these. Yeah, I mean, like, obviously it's the smaller Eldrazi. Now that they play creatures, like, that's very clear. Oh man, second thought nuts here taking the natural order is pretty rough. Yeah, Eric, they took the knight? Holy shit. Well, oh, okay. That makes more sense now. Alright, that's bad. So I have to block both of these on my turn, or on their attack, or I just die. Or really, both of these. So I'm just dead here. That's a shame. Like, if they didn't have the Wasteland, they would have, like, taken my natural order, and then the natural order off the top would have gotten 2 of these and left me with a giant monster. Okay, so now I'll want these Punishing Fires, and the Scavenging Ooze is also reasonable. So is there anything I don't want? Now I don't want the Gaddock Teague, and I probably don't want the Library. And I'll need to get rid of one more thing. I don't know what the last cut here should be. Am I supposed to just, like, trim a Lumberjack? Because my mid-range cards are so good? And my plan is just to aggressively Wasteland in the early turns anyway? That could be correct. It also could be correct to just, like, not board in the Ooze and just, like, leave it in the sideboard. No, I think Titania is, like, going to be one of my best cards in the matchup. Like, that returning Wasteland, or that just producing a bunch of 5/3s. Like, that seems like my clearest path to victory. Maybe Lumberjack contributes too much to that plan when I'm on the play that I can't get rid of it. And so this mid-range plan is just worse than, like, my Knight, Titania, Primeval Titan portion of the mid-range plan. I could see that. Alright. So I go Mox, discard Forest, play Heath, play Lumberjack, turn 2 Titania. Deal. Alright, you want to dismember my Lumberjack. Well, I can't do much about that. So I'm just playing this to keep some of the Eldrazi Mimic pressure off of me. I've got the Ancient Grudge, so like as far as artifacts go, those are well covered. I just want something on the board. Hey Arkan, welcome. I accept this trade. Alright, if this Lumberjack makes it around the table, and I draw a land, I will be in amazing shape. If it doesn't make if it makes it around the table and I don't draw a land, I'm still pretty good. Man, another Dismember? Come on. My Lumberjack just wants to cut down some trees. Alright, well, now I'm one land away from just like hard casting Titania and like being able to like bounce it and do all sorts of herpy-derpy fun things. Please don't Thought Knot away my Titania. Okay, good. That's fine. Yeah, plain sight. My viewership is much higher on average now than it used to be. We're long past the days of 20 people in the stream. I'm averaging over 70 most streams now, and I'm super happy about that. Like I can't ask for much more from my viewers than that. Like it's amazing. The rips this game have been pretty disappointing. God, please just play a land and like animate that factory so I can nugget with Ancient Grudge. That'd make me so happy. Yeah, that Sorcerer Spyglass can resolve because I'm going to Ancient Grudge it immediately. Come on! This is absurd. I don't want to lose a game like this. I'm going for the 5-0. That's what I want. Okay, so what happens if I draw a land? If I draw a land, I play Titania, I get back a Windswept Heath, I get a 5/3 Elemental, so my life total's still fine. I don't need to like chump, I don't need to fetch Dryad Arbor here. I can take this hit. Karn. You can have a Simian Spirit Guide. Ugh. All right, what does that do? Knight, I guess. So crack, go to 4, get a knight. All right, so crack, go to 4, get a knight. My opponent animates factory, swings in, and I die. I'm going to make them see that line. Because otherwise I'm just getting something that can chump block, and I'm going to shut off my fetch anyway and probably be dead. This play at least gives my opponent the chance to mess up and let me get further into this game. My opponent's very good, so I don't expect that to happen. Alright, I'm dead. Oh, I'm a featured stream? I'm number 5 on featured streams? Well, that sounds neat. I'm happy to hear that. So for anyone who's new here, hello, my name's Phil Gallagher, and I run Thraben University, which is a site exclusively for Legacy, Death, and Taxes. Although today we're not playing that deck. We are playing with Orcish Lumberjack. We are currently 2-1, although a lot of things went wrong for us that game in order to lose that one. Okay, what do I have here? I have a reasonable hand that's like very heavy on mana-based disruption. So if my opponent is a deck that Wasteland is good against, I'm going to stomp them. The Skoos was still in the sideboard. We didn't sideboard that in, so that's why that was not a line that was available. Alright. So unfortunately, my opponent's like probably playing either Ant or Omnitel. And I don't like that either way for us. So a turn 4 natural order is what I'm going for. That's what will win me the game. Well, that's what will give me the best chance of winning me the game, anyway. I'm just going to play another Windswept Heath and pass. Rather than playing my Loam. I'm going to maximize my chances of producing a Merit Lodge or Natural Ordering. I'm going to get a Dryad Arbor this turn that can start attacking and doing some chip damage to my opponent. And just also like set myself up to have a natural order target. Alright, a knight. That's fine. So I'm fine with just like casting a knight this turn. Maybe getting counter magic out of my opponent. and then going for a natural order next turn. Alright, show and tell. I would put in Grove of the Burnwillows. Please put in a fatty. Uh-oh, it's an Omniscience. That's bad for me. Emrakul. Also bad for me. I only have 5 permanents, so that means I am going to be dead, unfortunately. Alright. I don't want Bojuka Bog. I don't want Sylvan Safekeeper. I don't want Punishing Fire. I know all that much. Rekthar seems fine. Rex Sage seems fine. Choke seems fine. Thalia's Blast, Pithy Needle. This is the pile of cards that I can consider here. So just for anyone in the chat not kind of familiar how this would have worked, I could have like put in Grove, crop rotation for Karakas bounce their Emrakul, but then using Omniscience they just cast it again and get another extra turn. So that doesn't actually go and accomplish anything. So this isn't really a Dragon Lord Atarka matchup, so I have my Rekthar to bring in instead. And honestly, this may be a matchup where like I don't even really want my life from the Loams. That I just want to like naturally draw my stuff and cast it on curve. Like the Loam is a very, very powerful engine and part of this deck. But I need to focus on not dying with most of my cards rather than gaining incremental value, I think. So I would need 2 more cuts beyond this. Maybe Primeval Titan is too expensive. And maybe I even like trim a Titania as well. Does this leave me with enough threats? So I have Thalia, Teague, Knight, Titania. I guess it does. There's some chance that like the Needle isn't actually good enough if they're just like straight Omniscience. But I think I need to play it anyway. Even if they're like straight mono blue Omniscience and they just like play Grizzlebrand, that's still good enough to shut off. What does this hand do? This hand goes Mox Diamond, discard a Grove, and plays a turn 1 Thalia. This is fine. Turn 1 Thalia is pretty sweet against cantrip decks. I think the turn 1 Thalia is better than the turn 1 Lumberjack and Bird. Like, it gives me the possibility of a much more explosive turn 2, but I have nothing to cast right now. So just keeping my opponent from doing anything this turn is probably pretty good. Alright, so we might see an end step Brainstorm just like so my opponent can do something with their mana. Like, the end step Brainstorm isn't the best. It's not what you want to be doing, but it's a line available to them here. Eric, I think I'm actually going to be fetching Dryad Arbor and then copying Dryad Arbor to increase my clock. By the way, I'm so wrecked by a Pyroclasm this game that I'm not even playing around it. That's a really good draw. Alright, I think my opponent's just dead here. I don't think I'm going to Thespian Stage a Dryad Arbor again. If my opponent has, like, one spot... Or no, I guess I should, because if they have one piece of spot removal, then it hits Thalia, and I don't have them dead. This is not really the way I envisioned winning a game in this matchup, but I'll take it. I have so many trees. Well, this hand's unplayable. Well, this hand's awful. Is this bad enough to go to 5? Okay, so if I get a white source, then I have turn 2 Thalia, which is pretty good in the matchup. Is that fine? How many white sources do I have? 1, 2, 3, not counting this, not counting this. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These don't count. This hand's still incredibly bad. So I have 8 draws for untapped white. I have 10 draws for tapped white. Is this fine? Actually, I guess if I get any land, I can crop rotation for the white that I need. So this is terrible, and okay. This is terrible, and I expect to lose, but I think I have to keep it. Lumber Boy, I don't think you need Ancient Tomb. Like, as a 3-color deck with a lot of, like, double symbols, it's pretty mana intensive, so I don't really think that's something that you want to be doing. Like, I already have some lands that don't really produce colored mana. Like, Bojuka Bog doesn't produce colored mana for my spell. Like, the Dark Depths doesn't produce mana. I have 2 stages that don't produce colored mana. Like, I don't think I can afford an Ancient Tomb. with how many colored symbols I have. An Ancient Tomb doesn't actually accelerate you into some of your threats, like Knight of the Reliquary, because they don't have multiple color lists. I wonder if my opponent actually has a Force of Will, or if that was a Force of Will bluff on the previous turn. I'm inclined to think they actually have Force of Will. If they don't have Force of Will, then Crop Rotation for Wasteland's really strong here. If they do have Force of Will, then I should just play my Knight of the Reliquary, and next turn I can like try to Wasteland them multiple times. Or something. I also kind of don't want to play my Crop Rotation, because if they just show in a fatty, I can get Caracas that way. And then beat that. So accordingly, I'm going to go ahead and play my Knight. Okay, return is unfortunate. But I have another Thalia. So that's actually okay. Alright, both of those cards went to the top. So this turn, I can Crop Rotation for a Wasteland. Wasteland, I guess probably the Valk. And then play a Thalia. I can also not Crop Rotation and just, like, kind of ignore their lands and intend on using Crop Rotation to get me a 20/20. That's also not ridiculous either. How do I win this game? I win this game by my opponent bricking off pretty hard, honestly. If they draw a show and tell, I'm probably just going to lose to that. So I probably need to get aggressive and cut them off mana. If I like... So I can cut them off of City, and that would mean that currently they can't cast Show and Tell or Sneak Attack, or I can cut them off Volcanic Island and cut them off of Sneak Attack and future K returns. Oh, great. I didn't float mana there. That's devastatingly bad. Alright, so now we proceed without a Thalia in play. That's frustrating, but I'm probably pretty dead anyway. Yeah, there's some world where I win that one if I don't misclick there. That's frustrating. Like it's unclear whether or not like they had the show and tell in hand. If they just had the show and tell in hand already, and they were just sculpting things a little bit better before they did that, then like I'm 100% still just dead there. And if they didn't, then they brainstorm that turn. They show and tell that turn. I do this. I do the same thing. I draw that crop rotation. I can get a Caracas, and if they don't have a counter spell, like there's still a game. Alright, so I think my opponent plays Turbo Depths. In which case, keeping like a wasteland heavy sort of hand is pretty good. There's some argument for playing the stage that turn, so I can just go for like a quick like night stage thing, but I can just like play the stage on my turn anyway if I want to do that, so it's not that big of a deal in waiting. Innocent Blood. I'll sacrifice Dryad Arbor, I guess. This is probably just time to make a 20/20. And I probably just want to do it on my turn as well. So just play stage, float mana, sack Savannah, get depths, do my thing. Well, my opponent has like 3, 6, something like 9 finishes with Turbo Depths. Unsure if my opponent is playing like a bug depths list that has Innocent Blood, or if they're just playing some controlling deck that I just murdered. Maybe it's like the Lincoln Baxter bug lands deck. Alright, so I saw bug lands and an Innocent Blood. Standstill? Like, I don't know. Choke's gonna be good. I'm pretty confident in that. The best time to make a 20/20 is any time. Alright, that's fine. I agree. So Choke, Pyroblast, and Rev are probably all pretty good. This Teague's probably pretty bad. I've been cutting natural orders against blue decks and just like intending on hard casting these as the game goes long. And maybe if I'm doing that, I should cut the Dragon Lord Atarka, and that would leave me at 61. I could also see bringing in the Pithing Needle to stop random planeswalkers and potentially man lands if it is like some sort of standstill deck. I think I'm going to start with this as sideboarding and not over sideboard based on like guesses that I have, and then I'll be willing to adjust. The Pithing Needle may be correct. Okay, what am I doing with my turn? I want to play a turn 2 Knight. And I guess I should play like a turn 1 Bird as well. So I'm least likely to need my red. So I think I'm going to play this tapped. Cast my Mox Diamond. Discard my Taiga. Play Bird. It's unclear how many basics my opponent has, but the wastelands are probably going to be good. Like, my ideal sequence involves me, like, resolving a knight into... Oh, is this going to be like a Stoneblade deck? Cards in graveyards can't be the targets of spells or abilities. Alright, so I can't loam that. Alright, so that just resolved. Now, what do I want to get rid of here? I get to take them off of 2 colors with this Wasteland. So do I take them off of cantrips, or do I take them off of, like, Swords to Plowshares? I think I'm going to take them off of Swords to Plowshares. Like, if this knight makes it around one way or another, I'm pretty favored to win. They showed me Innocent Blood previously, and they presumably have things like Abrupt Decay. Cabal Therapy me, sure. That's a pretty good name. That's something I very reasonably could have in hand that I wouldn't have cast yet. So if I draw an untapped land, alright, so I'll sack a bird. Alright, so what am I doing? So I can play a bog them, crop rotate my bog into, like, a fetch land, fetch to make my knight big, or wait, I can crop rotate Bojuka Bog into wasteland them. I can knight away my Scattered Groves into another wasteland and wasteland them. Let's do that. Alright, so bog, you. Alright, green, crop rotation, get rid of bog, get wasteland. Wasteland, you. activate Knight, sacrifice this. Gonna look at a random thought nuts here for some reason. My opponent says, this is not very nice. Alright, Knight of the Reliquary currently has no abilities, but Sylvan's Safekeeper gets to keep it protected from all sorts of bad things that would try to hurt it. The end step, Hail Mary Brainstorm, looking for, I'm not exactly sure what. Fetch land and Fatal Push would not be enough due to my Sylvan Safekeeper and Knight. So... Land Abrupt... Veteran Explorer. Oh man, I bogged them, so they can't Cabal Therapy. Oh, that's kind of sad. Alright. So what happens if I crash in with this Knight? They block, very obviously, they block. And then I get 2 lands. With those 2 lands, I cast Titania, and I get back a Wasteland. Wasteland them off of the Trop. Yeah, okay. Okay. I could also just Merit Lodge, right? They, like... Not this turn. I can't Merit Lodge this turn. Because I would attack in... They would block. My Knight would be tapped, so I can't tutor up. But in following turns, that's something where I could go, that I could do. I'm going to get Forest Plains because my Mox Diamond produces the other colored mana that I need for Titania. Ah, Ground Seal. Boo. That's it. Alright, that's a good point. I mean, I still think I'd do it. They would have to have something like a Damnation to punish me. Also, chat, just to throw this out here right now, I can make a buttload of elementals with Titania right now. Alright, let's give Titania Shroud and sack a Thespian Stage. my opponent gave me the GGs and smiley face in chat. So I just sacked two of my 3 remaining lands there and just, like, create an elemental token army and have a lot of fun. How much in a buttload? I don't know. Feel like I can fit 3, maybe 4 elementals up there. Hard to say. Haven't tried before. All right, chat. I really enjoyed this deck list. Good games, Casey. So this deck's like super fun. Casey, here's the rest of the main deck in case you were kind of curious about what's going on. It's something special. Yeah, I didn't really give you a lot of time there to do the whole like Academy Rector thing. I got pretty aggressive. All right, so let's kind of recap this deck. So I did a 4-1 with this on Thursday, and this one likely should have been a 4-1, and it ended up a 3-2, but I misclicked with a crop rotation in Game 3 against Omnitel, and I potentially could have won that one. So we potentially could have gotten another 4-1 today. This deck is surprisingly good. I've said that a few times, but Titania is a very, very powerful card, and it feels like Life from the Loam and Knight of the Reliquary are very, very well-positioned cards right now. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, Maverick or Loam both would be, like, very good choices moving forward, like looking into GP Richmond, just kind of based on the power level of, like, playing these cards in this deck. Because, like, while, like, the Titania engine has taken over a lot of games and won it, there's just a ton of my games that I've won with just, like, recurring Wastelands via Loam and Knight of the Reliquary. So, that's something to keep in mind. All right, chat. I'm going to go ahead and call this stream at an end here. I have a podcast to record later today. I'm going to be on Everyday Eternal, so you can look forward to that probably sometime in the next week. I don't know when exactly those get pushed out. I'm going to be talking about D&T, Maverick, and stuff of that general ilk, and I'm looking quite forward to that. So to anyone who enjoyed my content today, I'm happy to have you. Feel free to follow so that you can see me when I go live. I'm usually live on Monday and Thursday nights these days at about 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and also on Saturday mornings at about this time. So, if you really like what I'm doing, consider donating, subscribing, or doing something else to help support my efforts. And I hope to see many of you around later. I don't know what exactly Bahra is doing, but I'm going to go ahead and host him now. Cheers!